I want to talk to you about harshness versus gentleness when you are parenting or giving advice or leading or responding to other people or interacting with other people. And so I've made this matrix, the advice giving, leadership, parenting, responding matrix. And the goal here is to try to move us all toward gentleness and toward understanding. The horizontal scale measures gentleness to harshness, but it measures two other related things. You see on the gentleness side, it says, I doubt myself. I was innocently taught to hate myself, and I take it out on myself. That's what's often happening here. On the harshness side, I must appear to know everything, and I was innocently taught to hate myself, and I take it out on others. And you'll notice that the root of both sides is a profound sense of unworthiness. It's fascinating. The doormat and the tyrant have the exact same root or cause, and it is a profound sense of unworthiness. It is an impossibly difficult, a painful sense of unworthiness. And I'll give you a little spoiler here. That unworthiness comes from harshness. Harshness. That's what creates in a child a sense of unworthiness. The vertical scale in this little matrix measures our journey through suffering. How far along have you gotten in your valley? Now, there's this idea of the dip. I think Seth Godin might have coined it. That's where I first heard it. This idea of the dip, that when you begin to do something new, there's a period of time where you are worse at it. An example I like to use is, or that I have used before, is that in my home currently there is no screechy violin sounds. But if someone in the home were to start practicing the violin, there would be a period of time where there were screechy violin sounds until they stuck with it long enough. Another example is Steph Curry. There was a moment in Steph Curry's career where he had to change the mechanics of his shot, almost starting over with his shooting, and there was a period of time where his shooting percentage dropped dramatically. This is his passion, this is his livelihood, and now suddenly he's much worse at it than he used to be. And he stuck with it, came up out of the dip, and now is arguably the greatest shooter in NBA history. I say all that to say that I have long had this thought that most people haven't suffered enough. Most people haven't suffered enough, or at least they have not learned from their suffering. And you might think, well, how can you say such a thing? Well, do you know anyone who is critical of others? Do you know anyone who is judgmental? Do you know anyone who is stuck, seems kind of to be stuck where they're at, who repeats the same mistakes or the same patterns or has the same beliefs that they've had forever? They haven't progressed through the dip, stuck in the dip. What a terrible place to be stuck, is in the dip. Gosh, up here was even better than down here. And the goal of this chart and this talk is to nudge us, shove us out of the dip and up towards some healthier, more ideal place. Some people might think, how can you say we haven't suffered enough? You don't know what I've been through, how difficult it has been for me. I hear you. If you're hurting, so am I. But we dare not stay in the valley. We dare not stay in the quicksand. We dare not stay in the cage or prison that we've been in. And you might think, well, you don't know how impossible it feels to get out. You don't know how impossible it feels to heal. You don't know how impossible it feels to find freedom. You've come to the right person. I do know. I do know exactly how that feels. And I am fortunate to know how simple it seems looking back to get free, to start healing. So the vertical scale is your journey through suffering, where you're at in the valley. And there's 5 spots that we will typically find ourselves in, and I want to go through those from left to right, starting in the most gentle, ending up at the most harsh, and we'll talk about each one of them a little bit. And the first one here is people-pleasing. People-pleasing, typically very gentle. But the root of it, or the heart of it, or where it's coming from is, please don't reject me. My heart is so wounded that I can't even bear the thought of someone rejecting me, so I stay stuck in people-pleasing mode. Where people-pleasing is coming from, the root of it is, please don't reject me. Please don't reject me. I would not be able to take that. Typically, that's at the subconscious level. Someone is not consciously thinking those things. They haven't, made what is it that I want to do with myself today? Oh, I want to really work on pleasing people. Desperately, I got to be desperate to please people today. So it's a subconscious thing. How it is received is often received with some appreciation. Gosh, that guy is a very nice guy. But it is also received with a loss of respect for the people pleaser. And I want to take a moment here to say I have heard a number of people in the last year online kind of with this saying this message, people pleasers are the most manipulative people out there. And to the folks saying that, I would like to say, shut up forever with your hot take. And for those who have heard such a message, and perhaps you are a people pleaser, understand that it's a broken heart, a wounded heart, someone that feels a tremendous sense of unworthiness. It makes no sense to shame someone who's already shamed. It makes no sense to condemn a drowning man, to scold the drowning girl. It's less than useless to condemn the people pleaser as manipulative and feel like you've got some clever hot take on things. Next one over on our little gentleness to harshness scale is, the wise and gentle sage. Here we're talking about Jesus Christ, Buddha, Eckhart Tolle, Ram Dass, Pema Chodron, Tara Brach, Michael Singer, on and on and on. This is what we're talking about. And you can see that this is a person who has been through the valley, been through the dip and kept going, who has known suffering and is now out the other side of suffering. It's the motivation for it, where it's coming from, is achieving inner peace and this desire or wish or thought that you can know peace as well. You can know inner peace. You can feel inner peace. That's the motivation, the root of it. How it is often received, typically received, is with immense gratitude and immense respect. Here's a fun little exercise. If you go on YouTube and look up an Eckhart Tolle video or a Ram Dass video or a Pema Chodron or any of those type of people, a little video of them talking, and then check the comments. It's going to be full of people expressing gratitude. Next over is this action-oriented, seeks to understand kind of person who's made some progress through the valley. They might not have known profound suffering and come out the other end of it. In fact, my guess is they have not known profound suffering. They have not known a desperate valley. They've just known typical suffering. It's possible for them to have even had an okay life and got here, where they are gentle but matter of fact, action oriented. They genuinely seek to understand the other person. That's a key feature or a key trait. They genuinely seek to understand the other person. That homeless person muttering to himself, rather than condemn them, laugh at them, or even have your heart break for them. There's an idea of seeking to understand. I desire to understand that person. I desire to understand my spouse. I desire to understand my child. I desire to understand the players on my team. I desire to understand the people that work for me, etc. The motivation behind it, where it's coming from, is often, typically, this idea of let's do meaningful work together. Let's do meaningful work together. Two examples that come to my mind as I'm saying this are Ed John, former principal at West Salem High School, brilliant at leading, and Seth Godin. Let's do meaningful work together. You can do meaningful work, and I'm here with you. Here, beneath these two spots, is this attitude of there's more I could know about anything, everything, the topic in front of us. So that's much different than anywhere else on this horizontal scale. Over here, these folks are not ever asking, what else can I know about this? They're saying, I know everything about it. I dare not allow myself to be questioned. I have to pretend like I know everything about it. And then, over here, the people pleaser, there's quite a bit of doubting of themselves. But here, these two spots on our little matrix are marked by that idea of, or that thought of, there's more I could know about anything and everything. What a fantastic attitude to have. In fact, I would invite us all to, or challenge us all to experiment with that. Hold that thought in your head this week and see what happens. Having some tension in your home, disagreement with your spouse, conflict with your child, frustration with a boss, frustration with an employee, whatever the tension or frustration or difficulty might be, there's more I could know about this person, situation, topic. I don't know everything there is to know about this. And it's also marked by, I have worked on accepting myself, like actively, intentionally gone to work on accepting myself, opened the toolbox and gone to work on accepting myself, rather than unconsciously staying in a state of feeling unworthy, of carrying the burden of unworthiness, and trying to hide that from everyone. I have worked on accepting myself. Moving further to the right here, we're getting into the harsh side of things, and this is a scolding and judging style of parenting or leading. Scolding and judging. The motivation behind it, the heart behind it is, the tone behind it is, I can't believe you don't know this. The tone when people talk is kind of like this. I'm firmly convinced that the second worst mistake humankind has ever made And I mean worst in terms of how often it happens and the severity of the consequences. Second worst mistake humankind has ever made is raising children in judgment. Raising children with judgment. Oh gosh. You're going out in that. Come here, let me fix your collar. Who would want to even play with you? Did you remember your coat? The tone is, I believe you didn't remember your coat. I believe you messed up. I believe you made a mistake. And there's a great many people, I would say the vast majority of human beings, are raised in an ocean of judgment. And the effects are absolutely devastating. Look around. Look around planet Earth. Look around the interactions you have with people. People are thin-skinned, defensive, hurting inside, hurting others. The late David Foster Wallace told the story of there's these two young fish swimming upstream. And as they swim, they pass an older fish coming the other direction. And as he passes, the older fish says, "Morning, boys, how's the water?" The two young fish swim on for a little while. And then one of them turns to the other one and says, "What the heck is water?" So it is an environment so complete we're not even aware of it. A prison so complete the prisoner doesn't even know he is held captive. We're raised in judgment, and it's around us so completely, so incessantly from birth to death that we're not even aware that our face is squinching up in judgment, that our gestures are in judgment, their tone is a judgmental tone. And I have to tell you, once you become aware of this, if you start looking for it, it's going to absolutely obliterate your heart. It's going to break your heart every hour of the day if you start listening for children being raised with judgment. So we know that it only takes one time of hearing something for it to get stuck in your head. It only takes one time of hearing something for it to get stuck in your head. Here's two embarrassing examples from my life. I once, when I was a kid, read in some ancient book, some old book, that the slope of your forehead determined whether or not you were going to be a criminal. I encountered that probably 45 years ago. And it still creeps into my mind sometimes. I encountered it once, 45 years ago, and sometimes I'll see a profile picture of myself or catch myself in a series of angled mirrors, and I'll go, oh, no. What does this mean? Heard it once. Another one I heard was, if your tongue has a sharp crease in it, that it could be a sign of mental illness. I heard it once, again, probably 45 years ago, and I heard it once, probably 45 years ago. To this day, every now and then, I'll be brushing my teeth, something, and I'll catch an image, see my own tongue, and go, oh no, wait a minute. Uh-oh. Does my tongue have a pronounced crease in it? Kind of looks like it does. So the point here is, we know that it takes one time for something to get stuck in a child's head. Imagine if a child heard something 20,000 times. Imagine if a child heard something 20,000 times. So if a child hears the message, you are not good enough. Come here. You're going out with you think those shoes go with that outfit? You like that music? If a child hears, you are not good enough, I disapprove of you, just 3 times a day for the first 18 years of their life, they will have heard that message 20,000 times. And I submit to you that children who are raised in judgment hear it significantly more than 3 times a day. We're raising children in judgment. And the effects are devastating. I think, I claim that raising children in judgment is the number one biggest cause of relationships failing. Because a child who is raised in judgment is their oldest, deepest, most painful wound. So they dare not let themselves feel judged. Their mind won't let them feel judged. So they'll do anything rather than say, I was wrong. I had a part in this problem. I should look inward and see if there's anything going on in there. I should examine myself. I'm open to questioning. I'm open to input. I can listen to you share your feelings without immediately getting angry and defensive. A child raised in judgment cannot do those things because it activates their oldest, deepest, most painful wound, and it is devastating on relationships. So, scolding judgment, the motivation behind it is this tone of, I can't believe you don't know this. I know and you don't. I disapprove of you. And some parents might think, oh, I'm not saying I disapprove of them. I'm just saying I disapprove of the outfit or the music. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. You say, I disapprove of that thing you're doing 3 times. And the message received is, I disapprove of you. I disapprove of you. And again, I would say, look around the world and you'll see the effects of it. Okay, moving to the end of our little harshness scale. Over here we have this mindset or attitude of toughness is the only thing that matters. And people get there by being raised by parents who function as if toughness is the only thing that matters. So harshness. Toughness is the only thing that matters. The motivation behind it is this profound unworthiness, profound sense of, do I matter? Do I have value? And it manifests as, you must worship me, you must obey me. I have to be obeyed. I have to be worshipped. I dare not be wrong. The response, the way it is often responded to, is with hatred and a sense of unworthiness. Just cycles unworthiness to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. And tragically creates a legacy of unworthiness. Now, there are some people, because they were raised to believe toughness is the only thing that matters, who will push back on this idea and say, no, toughness is the only thing that matters. I practice tough love. Hard men make easy times make soft men make hard times. Those sort of things. None of those things are true or accurate. Just because they're said, or just because there's kind of a clever structure to the sentence, it doesn't make it true or accurate. The reality is, and I can't remember where I heard this from, but I heard someone say this, that harshness has no redeeming value. There is nothing harshness does that loving kindness doesn't do better. There is nothing harshness does that loving kindness doesn't do better. And I would like to add to that there's no such thing as tough love. There is love, gentleness, seeking to understand, compassion, grace, mercy, all the things we want for ourselves, all the ways we want people to respond to us. And there is harshness, judgment, criticism, shame, blame, disconnect, love withdrawal. In short, none of the things we want for ourselves. If tough love has ever had a positive impact, it is because of the love part. It is because connection is by far the most important human need. Humans need connection so badly, so strongly, that even the hint of connection can do the miraculous. If tough love has ever had a positive effect, tough love, it is because of the love part. It is because someone reached out even with a closed fist. And I would like to add to all that nonsensical idea of tough men make easy times make soft men make hard times. Here's the reality. Tough men make wounded children, and that's all they make. Tough men make wounded children, and that's all they make. Go check it out for yourselves. Go research it for yourselves. Go start digging into your family's history. Man, those decades that some people romanticize, oh, we need to get back to the 30s, 40s, and 50s when we had traditional values and men were strong and tough. Guys, behind the scenes in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, things in the home were grim. Unspeakable. The types of violence and abuse that was taking place to spouses and children. Just because we weren't talking about it back then doesn't mean it wasn't happening. Tough men make wounded children. If a man is tough on himself, that's probably awesome. Some good could come of that, providing he's accepting himself and not, when will I ever be worthy? When will I ever be worthy? When will I ever win my Father's approval? Surely now. Surely with this next achievement. Surely if I just could get my benchmarks up, then I'll have some value. Maybe? One of the great tragedies here with this tough, harsh style of parenting especially, is that the child ends up desiring their parents' approval because they never really had it for their entire life. And here's where it gets heartbreaking. When those kids grow up and have kids of their own, they will knowingly hurt their kid rather than say, my parents did it wrong. So they will do things to their child, interact with their child, parent their child in ways that were brutal on them, that broke their heart, that they've never healed from. Because to do it differently would be to admit that their parent had made a mistake, and that could possibly jeopardize getting their parents' approval. You don't think parenting matters? A parent will knowingly hurt their own kid before they'll jeopardize the approval of their parents. That's how powerful that is. The goal here is to shove us back towards gentleness, but not unworthiness. Gentleness, not because we are seeking to please others, but gentleness because we have accepted ourselves and have passed, through the valley. We've made it through suffering. We've made it through our own dip, our own dark night of the soul. Gentleness and persevering in suffering. Harshness. It doesn't work because it cannot work. Now, it might be worth saying that I do believe men should be tough, but there's got to be more options for men than mouse or a-hole. There's got to be more options for young men and adult men than doormat or tyrant. There's got to be more options for men than mouse or a-hole. So how do we find that? How do we arrive at someplace different? Well, I think this matrix, seeing this visually and hearing us walk through it together is a huge part of that. Understanding that whether you are the mouse or the a-hole, the doormat or the tyrant, it has the same root. a profound sense of unworthiness. Understanding that harshness doesn't work, it never will work, it cannot work. That what humans need more than anything is connection. Harshness breaks connection. Harshness can never bring healing or restoration. It just can't, because it's breaking the thing that's needed. So, like the young man at the high school who is constantly acting up and is constantly getting into trouble, harshness wasn't what got him there. Lack of connection got him there. So further removing connection is not going to help him. He needs the thing that he has been missing, and that is connection. And it just can't be found here. Thanks for your time.